Killer7 is a Suda51 game. Okay, enough said. We can go home now because you know if it's a Suda51 game, then it's going to be filled to the brim with creativity and originality. So there you go. Go out and buy this game right now. I mean, it's Kasanova Approved. There's nothing more needs to be said. Okay? Okay. And we're good to pack up and go home now. Oh, okay. No, really. I know you all want to know what I think of Killer7's re-release on Steam and if it holds up to the original release and if it exceeds both the original and our expectations, and that's what this review is for. So, what's the premise of Killer7? Well, it doesn't pull any punches in how it throws everything at you and expects you to not question anything and take everything as if it's normal, everyday occurrences, and that you yourself are the weird one for even thinking to question what all is thrown at you. And that ranges from mild to insanely disturbing imagery that will most definitely unsettle you. That's not at all helped by the minimalistic settings and environments which are used to set the tone for all that you are going to encounter. So, how's the gameplay? Well, in its most simple sense, it's basically an on-rail shooter that doesn't give you any free range of motion or movement other than moving forward or moving backwards, and yet it also gives you a set number of predetermined pathways throughout its maps. You can get to choose the routes at various junctions, which ultimately opens up the areas that allow you to explore more. However, even with that, you will still feel a sense of limitation, and given its on-rails nature, a sense that you're guided to a destination that is ultimately unavoidable, so do keep that in mind. Now, pressing the right trigger on your controller, and that is if you're using a controller that is, will allow you to enter the FPS mode where you'll be able to attack with your currently equipped weapon of the personality that you're using. Yes, you heard me say personality, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So, shooting enemies is, even to this day, extremely well done. It's always fun to hit enemies in their weak spots to watch them explode, and enemies do respawn in rooms that you leave and or re-enter, and will be in the same places also, which can get jarring, but keep in mind this was an early 2000s game where this was common. So Killer7 is every bit as playable today as it was on its original release. In fact, aside from an improvement to the resolution, this is exactly the same game as back then, and that does go to show the value of using more abstract design in game development. So remember when I said personalities? Well, let me elaborate more on that, as there are a total of 7 personalities at the core of the game system and plot. And each of them has their own unique weapons, upgrade skills, and more at any time, and you're able to switch to any of these personalities on the fly to help you progress through the game and also solve various puzzles that you'll be running into. Now, do keep in mind that Goichi Suda constantly flirts with taboo topics, from sexuality, the nature of violence, and even religion. Absolutely nothing is off topic in this game, which ultimately looks at our current politically correct culture and not only spits in his face, but also kicks it out the front door and beats the holy high hell out of it. All in all, Killer7 is a game that made Suda not only a household name, but one of the industry's most amazing visionaries within his unique way of blending cinematography with visual noir and stories that most companies even to this day are terrified to even fathom touching on. Suda isn't afraid to go where others won't, and he does it in such a way that you know his games based on how awesome they explore their themes. Now, Killer7 is one of the most innovative games of all time, and is incredibly creative and certifiably a masterpiece till this day, well over a decade and some change later. Goichi Suda's Killer7 for Steam is Kasanova Approved.